And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. Today, the Keeg Talks Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you are watching us live, you are watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, or, like secondary or whatever, youtube.com/The Keeg Show. We don't discriminate over here. You can watch us on YouTube or Twitch, either or, but our main chat is going to be twitch.tv/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you're listening to the audio podcast, and that's wherever you get your podcasts from. I am your host, Dimithri Perera, which I've already said, and if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see who our guests are, so let me introduce them. First, we got Johnson, aka Johnson is Lovely. Johnson, what's up, man?
Howdy, hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for letting me on here, man. I appreciate being here.
You are a huge Ninja Turtles fan, and how could I not have you on?
Stranger things have happened. No pun intended. However, I come from a very long line of Ninja Turtles diverse history. I was basically indoctrined from birth because my brother and my older cousin, they grew up with the original series.
Yeah.
We can talk about how I was exposed to that later, but I'm a 2003 kid at heart, and just the rest is history.
All right. Well, I'm glad I have you. It was, you were recommended to me by another person on this podcast, who I'm going to introduce right now. We got Schuby Duber himself. Schuby, what's up?
Yo. Glad to be back on the Keeg Show. Thank you so much, Dimithri, for having me back on. Johnson, always the pleasure to be with you, man. I love talking Turtles, especially with this guy right below me, or wherever I am on the screen that you have me set up. But it's great to be here. I got to help promote for this movie, and I'm surprised this is the only podcast that actually reached out to me. They were like, "Oh, you help promote the movie? That's enough. We don't need your opinion on it." So I'm glad to have you, glad to be on here. I got invited to the premiere and everything.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later on if you guys want to.
Yeah. Well, you guys are both big Ninja Turtles fans, and what sucked was the strikes were going on while this movie came out, right? There was a couple key movies that came out when the strikes were going on, and one of them was Ninja Turtles. And so it felt really bad not being able to cover this, because I watched the movie and I loved the movie, and it sucked not being able to cover it. And by the way, Johnson, oh, there you are, Johnson. It sucked not being able to cover this movie, and now that the year is coming to a close, the strikes are over, we're able to cover it. Were you guys, did it hurt a little bit? Because it hurt me for Blue Beetle, not being able to talk about Blue Beetle when it came out. Did it hurt you guys?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I confided in Schuby, on and off the app several times, man. I was depressed, bro.
Yeah.
I was going through it because for me personally, it was one of those things where I literally set up in advance and I cashed in actual PTO from my job because I was planning on doing just full-time coverage. And it was literally my PTO approval got submitted, and then 2 days later we were officially on strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened for me. Like I said, I got to promote the movie. Luckily, SAG was cool for me to do it because I was contracted before the strike. I was contracted before, a week before. I get an email from Paramount. They're like, "Hey, we'll pay you this much money to do a TikTok for us, and if you post on your Instagram and whatnot, we'll pay you the money." And I was like, and then a week later, it's like, we're on strike. Anybody who makes a video talking about this is a scab. You will be marked for life, and you will never be able to work in this industry again. So I'm like, oh man. And luckily, like I said, they let me do that. They even let me put a thing in the caption saying this was contracted before. But as a thank you, they wanted to invite me to the premiere. Or sorry, an invite only event. That's how they put it in there. And I was like, I can't. And it was actually one of my goals to go to a premiere. That was my first time ever being invited to something like that, and I was so excited, because I got to help promote with IDW for The Last Ronin. They sent me books to help promote for that, and I told Johnson, I was like, if I were to go, I would have asked for a +1. And I told Johnson, I was like, dude, you would have been the first person I called, be like, yo, because a couple of weeks before the before like when it was being announced, before trailers came out. I remember it was when Johnson and I first met each other, and I'm sorry, I believe I did not turn off my phone. I'm sorry.
No, it's
um,
cool.
but before like the what was I saying? Yeah, before like trailers or anything, I remember Johnson and I, we had just first met. It was our first like live stream together, and we both came to the conclusion that none of us were like neither of us were going to go to the premiere.
Yeah.
And here I am, and guess we were right. Uh, but yeah, it was definitely heartbreaking not to be able to do that kind of stuff, and yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look, you guys are both great creators. You're obviously big Ninja Turtles fans. It will come again, those opportunities, right? And like
I'm really hoping so.
you guys work
Sorry,
hard.
dude.
Like it's gonna happen. Now, the thing is that like we had to get this episode in before the end of the year because I mean the year resets and whatnot. But what sucks about this is it's such a good movie that not as many people saw it, right? Not as many people that would have seen it did see it, right? And
right.
so like I was rewatching again and it's still funny and still holds up and whatnot. Really quick as we start off this episode, I just want your rating out of 10. Even like with a short explanation, and then we'll talk about it more throughout the episode. But what would you rate this movie out of 10?
Out of 10 theatrically released Ninja Turtles films, feature-length films, 6.
You would give this a 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
That actually surprised me. I was actually I thought Johnson was gonna give it like a 10 out of 10, man. I was gonna give it like a 7 out of 10.
Mm.
And like I said, we'll go into reasons for that in just a minute.
I mean I'm not gonna back down. No, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I had certain thoughts about it, but like for the most part, like I loved it. I can rewatch it. I thought it was a great movie. Now, do I disagree with like choices? Yeah, but like you can't argue choices. The way I like to look at things is like I understand their choices and then I think to myself, using those choices, was this the best way to accomplish that, right? That's how I have to like
Of course, yeah.
tackle
Yeah.
MCU like stuff. Being a fan of the comics, seeing stuff on the MCU, I'm like, okay, I get why like they made that choice. Did they do it to the utmost? I don't know. Now that we got our ratings out there, how did you guys get into Ninja Turtles? Because I'm a 90s kid. So like Ninja Turtles was right at the beginning, bleeding in from the 80s, like for me, you know? But you guys are huge fans.
Yeah.
Schuby, you wanna
Sure.
jump
Yeah,
in?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to for like because I recently made a video talking about this about how his grandma bought him the turtle toys and everything and stuff like that. But for me, it was the 90s movie. My first like farthest memory that I can think of when I first saw it. I don't know if this was the first time I saw it, but it's the farthest I can think back. Um, I think it was when I was at my Uncle Dan's house. We were watching it, and I remember we were playing like the little game because I don't know if you guys remember, like DVDs used to come with like little games that you could play with on the remote. And I remember there was like jokes like we were going around. He's like, "Oh, that Shadow, that's the pizza guy." Like made jokes like that, and I remember watching that movie as a kid, maybe 6 or 7, and that was my first like introduction. So it was the 1990 movie, like the live action with the Jim Henson puppeteers. And I showed that to a friend recently, and she called it a really old movie, and I almost died. I felt like an ancient relic when she said that.
Yeah.
But that was probably mine.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I grew up with the 2003 series,
Mhm.
and I mean that was pretty much my introduction to Ninja Turtles. Like, so asterisk, my brother is 10 and a half years older than me, so
Okay.
it was like, so I was in kindergarten, he was like a freshman in high school, right?
Yeah.
So there was a disconnect there, and so like he was growing out of a lot of those childish things, playing football and whatnot. But I mean, he always had a very like soft fondness for the Ninja Turtles, and so did our older cousin that's in between the two of us. And so, I mean, it was one of those things where like they remembered it, but they never really told me how deep the history had ran up until that point. They just let me have my show and just let me have the world with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just basically, let me find my love for Ninja Turtles my way, which it was like now in hindsight, I'm definitely grateful for. But I can also vividly remember one summer I had a season long injury to where I couldn't play baseball.
Mhm.
And that sent me basically into probably like one of my first like very like long sad funks that I would experience as a kid. It was like I was down in the dumps about everything because I really just wanted to be out and play with my friends, but I had to sit in my house all summer. It was totally bogus. And I remember in conjunction with my great aunt who had the original VHS tapes in her attic, my brother sat down with me that summer and we watched pretty much like the first 3 seasons of the original 80s series together.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I mark that as basically my canon event.
It had to
Like,
happen. It had to
Like
happen.
it had to happen that way. Like
Your life
on
was
another
changed
on
for-
another timeline, I hate Ninja Turtles and I'm a center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. But other than that, I mean, like this is how it was supposed to be.
I mean,
Right.
I wish you could have done both, but I'm glad you're on the Ninja Turtle side.
Same.
Yeah, there isn't a better side I'd rather be on.
Yeah.
Like at least right now.
What about
Yeah.
you, Dimithri? Do you have one?
I mean, okay, so like I said, like I'm a 90s kid, right? And so
Right.
like I was there at the phenomenon switch between, so Ninja Turtles was a phenomenon. Late 80s, early 90s, it was a phenomenon. And then there was a phenomenon switch between Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. It switched over. And it was roughly like the same kids, you know what I mean? It's that same niche of
It's chocolate and peanut butter.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they go really well together, and it's like most people that like one are gonna like the other, right? And it like bled in. And then I mean, Power Rangers Phenomenon was like the biggest thing. Like that was my thing.
The Roman Empire.
I mean,
Yeah.
back then, yeah. And then Power Rangers bled into, I think, Pokemon. Like Pokemon was the next phenomenon, and like because Pokemon like popped off right away. But like
Really, just the entire anime clash in general.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, Pokemon though was
Japan had a stranglehold on
Like-
American.
you guys are young. That like 1996, I think, was Pokemon Fever. Like it might have been 96 or 98, but it might have been 98. But the point being is that like it was crazy. But Ninja Turtles, I mean, they went on tour, right? Like
Yeah.
they had like
They
a
went
Ninja
on
Turtle
Oprah.
band, right?
Yeah, they
As
were on
those
Oprah.
characters, which I thought was like really cool. But Ninja Turtles was one of those like, okay, yeah, like one of my first loves, and not one that I appreciate and respect, but I'm not like in love with that first love anymore, right? I'm not knocking on
Right.
their door being like, take me back, please. It's like, no, I'll go to their wedding and I'll appreciate them marrying other people, you know?
And Boom Studios gave us that wedding.
What
An
did
Irish
Power
goodbye, if you
Rangers.
will.
What did Boom Studios do? Because
Power
yeah, for
Rangers
anyone
and
out there,
Turtles.
like Ninja Turtles are video games, movies, TV, comics, and like. But tell me, Ben, what did IDW?
They gave us
do?
the Ryan Parrott and Dan Mora gave us that well, I think what was it? Simone Di Mio. I forgot. I don't know how to say their name.
Mhm.
The first artist, but I know Dan Mora was the second artist for the second series. But they gave us the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And of course there was the one with the in space episode that not everybody likes, but I hold near and dear to my heart.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Evolution. Do you guys that's the live action TV show that like is hated on? Do you guys like that show?
It exists.
Next mutation.
Next mutation. Sorry. Yes.
So I mean, like it's like like Schuby, we're gonna come back to what you said, but I mean, somebody asked me, do I enjoy the next mutation? I found enjoyment in the next mutation
Yeah.
because somebody requested that I actually do a video where I say 5 nice things about it. And I mean, actually, I had a whole take about this on Twitter that I really want to convert into a video. It's like with Next Mutation and Rise of the TMNT, I know that we're talking two very different, there's like generations here, but it's so uncanny how they both have the same pitfalls almost for the exact same reasons, because they came out way too close to a more popular series, and they went in a route where they were really leaning, culturally speaking, in terms of popular culture,
Mhm.
how people in Japan watch television, that it just really fell deaf on Western ears.
Okay.
And so that was kind of the shortcoming for the Next Mutation. Because when I go back and I look at them, it's like, okay, this is literally no different than Supaita Man. This is no different than Kamen Rider. It's an American tokusatsu show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. Like, I remember Venus being one of my favorite parts of that. Like her character, like not a lot of people agree, like her character. I don't think like the way they handled her was good, but I love the idea of a female Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
And I love that IDW kind of like rewrote her into their continuity, which is so great because we hadn't heard from her in 24 years, and now we got Jenica and stuff like that. So if I could take anything away from Next Mutation, I think the introduction of Venus was definitely, and she's named after Venus. It's after a statue,
Venus de Milo.
Milo.
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, so I do like that.
Yeah. Um Given the fact that like next the Mutant Mayhem came out, in the middle of this year, there were so many years of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles property and different series in the franchise and whatnot. When you guys heard that they were doing Mutant Mayhem, right? When they were doing this animated movie, did you guys have thoughts or fears or hopes or what?
I definitely had thoughts because when they announced it, it was on comicbook.com. It was like after a Paramount thing. And that's when I first heard about it. And immediately I saw Seth Rogen's name was tagged onto it. And that made me even more excited. I remember a lot of people being afraid of that. Like they were like, Seth Rogen? No, I don't want this. And I'm over here thinking, I'm like, are they not aware that Seth Rogen, Green Hornet, Preacher, The Boys, Invincible, like this man
No,
has
because
proven
they only,
himself worthy.
the problem is they
Yeah,
only
go ahead.
they only know Pineapple Express, Zach and Miri make a movie, Seth
Yes.
Rogen,
Right.
and
Yes.
it's just like we really like the casual media consumption audience is literally just forever out on the edge of stuff, and it's just like you really got to go beyond the surface when you really look at stuff. Because I mean, like, yeah, like Seth Rogen's producer credits, like they're almost unmatched at this point when we're looking at like at the resume that
Yeah.
this guy is building.
And
Yeah.
But I mean, I
for
definitely had thoughts about it. I mean, well, one, I'm always excited for new Turtle Media because I mean, it was a very, kind of sad fizzle out with how Rise ended. We don't have to get into that right now. But I mean, just is like, and I mean, like, yeah, there was just a Ninja Turtle sized hole on the toy shelves and in a lot of people's hearts. So to see, I mean, basically, like, and going back to Shuby's point of how when they announced that thing, there was basically three different Ninja Turtle movie announcements, all within like the same 3 month cycle, because
like a lot of people, yeah.
they had finally broke the Rise movie's release date on Netflix, and then there was also a Collider article that came out about how they were still in development with a live action film.
Yeah.
Who's to say if that's still going to come out? But actually,
I'm a little excited for
Casey,
that one.
yeah, Casey Jost, Colin Jost of Saturday Night Live's brother, did a whole podcast episode on it. I did a video about it. It's out there,
Yeah,
but
and Colin Jost, the one of the guys in Saturday Night Live, he's supposed to be helping write it. The guys from the Weekend Update, the
Yeah.
the guy he's married to
Scarlett
Scarlett Johansson.
Johansson,
Colin
yeah.
Colin Johansson, yes, he's supposed to be writing it with his brother, which actually gets me because like Weekend Update's like the best part of SNL right now, so
Yeah.
I
So
trust them.
keep in mind, Colin Jost is one of two head writers on SNL, and I think that what ends up happening is like, look, we're all fans, and then we're also like the three of us are content creators and whatnot. There are people in our audiences that are fans and not content creators. There are people that don't know the behind the scenes stuff, right? But what I think that people need to realize before they start hating, first thing I think before you publicly hate something, just like do a little research, think about it a little bit, think about it critically. Writers are different than directors, who are different than producers, who are different than actors, right? Someone who's a great actor might not make a great director, or vice versa, right? So we get Seth Rogen, and I mean, I personally love Seth Rogen regardless, but Seth Rogen wrote Superbad. So like him and his producing partner Evan, I forget Evan's last name, but they both excuse me, they both wrote Superbad, right? So their writing credits are good, and Seth Rogen's producer credit is amazing. And people just realize, I mean, they look at Seth Rogen and they think, that like Seth Rogen, but you're right, he does produce The Boys and he does all that, right? And so when he was announced for this, I didn't go in hating. I was interested. I was, okay, how are they going to do this? And what's funny is like this got announced during the Paramount whatever conference or whatever that they did, investors meeting, where they announced that essentially they're doing more Sonic stuff, they're going to do more Transformers stuff, and they're going to do more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, right? And those were franchises they want to expand like crazy, both on Paramount Plus and in movie theaters. And so I knew that like Mutant Mayhem would just be one of many, so I don't judge the adaptation that harshly, because I'm like, the choices that they make in this movie are specific to this movie and whatever they choose to do with this movie. It's not the be all end all Ninja Turtles, because we're getting multiple.
And that's the beauty of Ninja Turtles in general, because I mean, we have an established multiverse with this franchise now, and it's just like, it's basically just kind of just like, I mean, like, not to reference everything everywhere at once, but it's basically just like a spinning bagel of just all these, just like different little tidbits, and it's just like you can have, just like a different flavor whenever you want. Some people, like the more high action stuff. Some people like the more ninja aspect of the stuff. Some people are really are very heavy hearted on the character moments and the smaller moments that happen in between from a character to character.
Yeah. DLX Gaming says TMNT into the Turtleverse. What was the title of the movie that was the crossover between? It was Turtles
Forever.
Turtles Forever.
2009, baby.
Yeah.
That's my number one Ninja Turtles movie.
Okay.
Wait, I'm gonna grab my charger. I'm so sorry. I gotta grab this charger. It's about my computer's about to die. I mean, I'll be okay. So if you guys, I know John's gonna go for Turtles Forever for a while, so I'll be right back.
Pass me the ball. I got it.
So Johnson, do you feel that you being like a super fan hurts or helps your expectations for these type of movies and series?
I feel like it definitely helps, just because, I mean, my passion is what helps other people remember what they used to love about TMNT. Because I'll be sitting at work and I'll be talking to, that's like the guys that I work hand in hand with, all the time. And I mean, granted, I'm the biggest nerd out of all of these guys. I mean, one of them's a dad. He's got like 5 kids. The other one, he's working on starting a family with his current girlfriend and whatnot. So, we're all in different stages in life and have different priorities, but that's kind of what we fall back on in terms of all of our pop culture topics. And it's just like, so we talk about music, we talk about sports, I'll talk about Ninja Turtles, and then they'll be like, man, I didn't even remember that, but you just brought the memory back to me. And yeah, it's a very beautiful moment in regards to all of that.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles, it's pure nostalgia, right? Like, it's not old. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. It's pure nostalgia, or it runs on pure nostalgia, but at the same time, it creates like new things. And that's kind of a big thing about franchises in general that people don't realize is like, for a franchise to live on and survive, they need to bring in new fans, and they need new blood, and diversify those fans. So something that I think is interesting about Ninja Turtles is each series kind of focuses on a little bit different thing, right? Like one might focus more on the ninja aspect. This movie focuses on the teenage aspect, I think, really well, and then the mutant aspect, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
don't necessarily think it really brought the mayhem for me personally as much as I would have hoped, but there's an entire show that's getting ready to come out in April that's in conjunction with this. So I'm willing to let them cook. but I mean, just it's a lot to think about in process.
Is there going to be a show based off of this continuity?
Yeah, on
Yes,
Paramount
Tales
Plus,
of the
that's what the end credit
TMNT
scene
is going
was.
to be airing on Paramount Plus this April.
And it
They announced that when they
it
announced the
ties
show.
in with this movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because I thought it was a different continuity, but no, it's the same.
We're out here getting Dimithri excited.
I love this, mostly because this movie to me was
Mhm.
just like a small taste of what this universe can offer, right?
I feel like me and Schuby haven't talked about it that much because we don't want to jinx it and then not be able to talk about it for another 6 months.
Yeah. I want to shout out Wednesday Pull, Lex from Wednesday Pull in the comments. Wednesday Pull is a podcast that does comic book talk and everything, and Lex pops onto my shows a good amount of times. Wednesday Pull in the Twitch chat says, I was just talking about this. I think they've done a great job of capturing the right younger audience for years that continues to grow up still loving the process. There are 10-year-olds that are like in love with this movie, and that's a good thing. We don't need Ninja Turtles for like, dare I say, for 50-year-olds, right? Like,
yes,
50-year-olds can still be fans, but we don't need to make a Ninja Turtle series that just appeals to people who like grew up in the 80s. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the thing, though. Stuff like that. Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish, Shuby.
I was gonna piggyback off that. Like we were talking about how they're 50-year-old. We have a video game based on The Last Ronin coming out soon. But I remember when The Last Ronin first came out. I've been very vocal about this. I was like, they shouldn't make a movie, and they go, "Oh, why not?" You know, I'm like, because let's think about the main demographic of Ninja Turtles for a second. How do you think those 8-year-old boys and girls would feel when we brutally murder them? Because parents won't look at the rated R rating. We all know. We all learned from Sausage Party and Deadpool what happens when we put you know, they won't. So we're going to see them get brutally murdered in front of these 8-year-olds and just scar them for life. You know, I like the story as much as it is. I think putting it as a video game is like the best way to go. Personally, I feel like it's best as a comic book. But yeah, just to piggyback off of that, we do have content for 50-year-old readers. You know,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the same time, yeah, you got to grow up with that stuff as well. Like even originally, Ninja Turtles was a comic book for adults. Sorry, Johnson, you can go. I'm done now.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And I mean, I will respectfully disagree with the adaptation of the Last Ronin movie. I actually just did a video about this where I was, kind of debating the topic. And for me, it's one of these things where I'm still conflicted about it because I'm definitely in the camp of, yeah, let's just let the story be what it is. But I mean, we're also in, like, Ninja Turtles is a franchise that has built its back off of how well it's been able to milk everything that it's worth. So The Last Ronin really should not be any type of exception to that for me personally. And we're already seeing that with The Last Ronin last year's and with Last Ronin Revolution, which is the continuing spinoff with a new generation of Ninja Turtles. And I mean, so it's like I've already kind of thrown my pitch out there for who I would love to see handle this level of maturity for a movie. And I actually said Gendy Tartakovsky, because if you remember, he was the brainchild of Samurai Jack. And Samurai Jack is like, granted, it's an outlier because it's the only real instance where I've seen this done successfully, but the original 4 seasons of that show were done for kids, and then they picked it up, and then the final season was for those same kids that grew up 20 years later on Adult Swim.
Young Justice also kind of did that as well. Like if you look at the newer seasons of Young Justice,
I
grew up the show
for the
original audience.
I love it when a franchise grows up with the fans.
Yeah,
you know. Me personally, Last Ronin. I think people need to read the comic before they ask for a movie adaptation. So
yeah, I agree with that too.
I think that it's nice to know that people want a movie adaptation, but also like appreciate the comic. Comics are not just the comic book medium is not just a jumping off point for movies and TV. Like it's its own art, right? It's its own medium.
I would say that the comic is fully appreciated. I mean, like it's a national award-winning book,
right?
So I mean, like it's not like it hasn't been getting its due flowers. It's arguably probably the most like runaway success story Ninja Turtles has had in the last 15 years.
And I'm saying more people should read it.
Absolutely,
you know, because most of the people who want this movie they know what happens because of people like you and me. You know, like you guys and like
Yeah,
because we
people who
talk
talk
about it.
about it and create
And
content
I
about it.
actually broke down every issue as it came out, you know, and that's part of the reason why I got on IDW's radar. You know, they were just like, dude, you want to actually help do this? I was like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
I personally think that The Last Ronin is kind of like Kingdom Come for DC.
Yeah,
DC's Kingdom Come in a way that I don't know whether we need a movie of Kingdom Come. I can actually
yeah.
I can say
I can
right
see what you're
now I
saying.
don't think we should ever get a movie of Kingdom Come. If anything, a cartoon movie of Kingdom Come, not a
Yeah.
live
As
action.
long as it looks like Alex Ross's artwork brought into animation.
It would
That's what
be
I ask.
it would be nice to have
That'd be
like a
dope.
Yeah.
very kind of
Like it
realistic
looks like it was
painted
oil
look.
painted.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that'd be so
You know
cool.
who could
Does
do
it?
that? Weirdly
Alex
enough,
Ross.
Sony and like the crew
Yes.
behind Spider-Verse could do that. Let's
Yeah.
talk about Mutant Mayhem because I'm gonna use
Yeah,
this.
we
I'm
were
gonna
getting off
use
topic
this
here.
to switch over. How did you guys like the art of Mutant Mayhem? Because Spider-Verse came to mind, but then it's been compared to Spider-Verse since the beginning trailer came out.
Yeah.
But like, do you feel like those comparisons are apt?
No, not
Yeah.
necessarily. I definitely feel like they definitely found their footing. I mean, it also, if you go back to the original concept art that leaked, it's like it's definitely more in line with the Mitchells versus the Machines movie, which is the
Yes.
other thing that that director had done.
And that was
And
also made
so,
by Sony.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so,
So
I mean, like Ninja Turtles definitely also prides itself on with each new introduction. Like, I didn't think that it would be I didn't think that it would be this easy to keep drawing four turtles that know ninjutsu for 40 years, all these different ways. But
Yeah.
it's just like, about to say, like each silhouette of every version of the turtles in the Turtleverse, you can see best like be like, okay, that's 2003, that's 87, that's the
yeah,
Ronin verse. Those are the Bay Turtles. This is the Mutant Mayhem universe. Like, there's
right.
like no undeniable. This is a little like questioning of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with Johnson to like yeah to that extent as well. You know, like I said, I agree. It's definitely Mitchell's and Machines. It's the same exact director from Mitchell's and or co-direct. Well, he co-directed Mitchell's and Machines, but Jeff Rowe did this whole movie. But like I didn't like that everybody was saying that it was just Spider-Verse because it wasn't. You know, it definitely took inspiration. I'm not going to say that it didn't take inspiration. Overall, it is kind of its own thing. Like it doesn't look exactly like Spider-Verse, especially when it comes to the people. And that's what I really liked about this, like the way they did the animation of the people. Because the turtles, they've always felt like outcasts, that they were ugly and that they don't look like people, you know, and they look the most normal out of everybody in this movie, you know, and I think that was what the director and the artists were going for. I think they were going for that kind of storyline, like they're ugly just like we are, you know, and you guys should be able to fit in because that's what they wanted. They want to fit in, you know, they wanted to be able to go out on the surface. Did I just like spark something?
No, yeah, well, you blew my mind right now, because, correct me if I'm wrong, are you telling me that it was a conscious choice to make the humans look ugly and the turtles to look cool?
Aside from April O'Neil, yes.
Okay, because,
Like April O'Neil looks very normal, but
right,
like if you notice, like even Baxter Stockman at the beginning, he was different. He was different. Nobody wanted to hang out with him because he looked weird. He had a comb over. He had all this, you know. And like when they went out on everybody's like face looked like they got punched in the jaw so hard that it got knocked out of place or something. And I think that was a conscious decision.
I
that's
think that you
wild.
can
I
also.
didn't think about that, because
Yeah,
that's me hating on the
I
human
took a
designs in
cinema
this movie.
class, you know, and since then I've
Everybody's asymmetrical in this movie, but the Ninja Turtles look cool. The Ninja
yeah,
Turtles are not
especially Leo.
asymmetrical, but
I
like the
think
Yeah,
humans are.
that's definitely a very is like interesting take. I personally think that you can also was like annotate and kind of was like throw the idea out there that the human characters they're also a reflection of New York City and how
yeah,
jagged and how it was like
different
abstract.
everyone is.
This about to say like the actual like environment of the town is because I mean do about to say like does the person reflect society or does society reflect the person? And it's definitely like another one of those. This is like everybody says that New York City is one of the strangest places in the world, and so obviously that's of course where the Ninja Turtles would find themselves home at.
Yeah. I wanna just do this quick shout out. I'm from Southern California, so like I'm from like the LAOC area. And so me seeing like New York, I'm not here to talk shit on New York, but I am here to show off my shirt. It's a Lakers shirt with Donatello on it.
Yeah, that
Um,
looks dope. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie.
There's
Slamming
a
and jamming.
there's a website called Homage, Homage, that sent me this shirt, so I wanted to shout them out. They got a lot of Ninja Turtle shirts, some crossover with sports teams and whatnot. So if anyone is out there looking for cool new Ninja Turtle shirts, homage.com. Homage.
Gotta love that.
Go
Yeah.
check it out, man.
Yeah,
That
they
is
sent
a
me a
dope
couple of
shirt.
shirts, and I thought it was
And I
really
love the
cool.
Peter Laird style that they used for
Yeah,
it
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like you could. I don't know if Johnson. I don't know if you can do it, or I don't know if you guys can do it, but I can tell the difference when it's Kevin and when it's when
Oh.
it's I can do it.
Yeah.
I've been getting very good at it lately.
Oh, I haven't thought about it
It's probably
too
it's
hard.
probably my neurodivergency, but yeah.
I can do
Eastman
that
has
for other artists, but for
But people say it's a disability, but for me it's a superpower.
yeah.
Eastman uses a lot more of like small line work to accentuate his details, and Laird definitely just like he's like he uses like a lot more circular shapes with how he draws his characters.
Especially
That's
the
just like
faces of the turtles.
yeah, the turtles are definitely like a
That's
little
why I
bit
knew
pudgy.
immediately that was Laird.
I'd say like the turtles definitely have more mass when Laird and guys like Jim Lawson draw them. And I mean,
Yeah.
like they'll definitely look a lot more boxy. I'm a big fan of collecting Kevin Eastman variant covers just
Yeah.
because like I'm more akin to his style personally.
Yeah, same.
There's like no disrespect to Laird though,
No,
but
Yeah.
yeah.
he's a king too.
Mutant Mayhem. Johnson, what did you like about Mutant Mayhem? Well, I want to start some positive stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much that I really did enjoy about this film. I mean, I really enjoyed the pacing. I really enjoyed the character moments that we got them, and I also really appreciated the amount of star power that was actually brought to this because like everybody has this problem with certain animated films where it's fully loaded with a bunch of celebrities versus actual voice actors, where it's just like, oh, okay, well, this just sounds like LeBron James or whatever. I mean, I just throw his name out there because you're wearing the Lakers shirt. But I mean, for me, it's one of these things where it's like, no, like, I mean, Maya Rudolph brought it. Paul Rudd brought it. Seth Rogen and John Cena, they both brought it as Bebop and Rocksteady. The boys, Micah Abbey, Brady New, Nicholas Cantu, and Shimon Brown Jr. And it's just like the fact that people were literally trying to judge them off of these 10 to 15-second snippets from a chopped up trailer was just mind-boggling to me.
Yes.
So it's just like I really appreciated just all of those little moments and nuances. Also, shout outs to Io Adebri. She's gonna probably be remembered as one of the best versions of April O'Neil when it's all said and done. I absolutely
she is doing
character.
so much. Io is doing so
much.
much.
She is cooking.
Yeah.
we stand Iowa Debris in this chat, I assume.
Yeah. So let's talk about the four turtles. Okay. I posed this question to you guys, and I want to know you guys' answers. In general, not just in this movie, but in general, do you guys have a favorite Ninja Turtle?
Go first, Schuby, please.
Mine fluctuates. Okay, as you guys know, like I'm from planet Earth, I'm a military brat, so I grew up in Italy and Japan and all that. But the place I lived the longest, was like Florida, Georgia border. So, like, I got that surfer dude, like kind of thing. I was a skateboarder growing up. I read comic books all the time. I'm always like listening to hard rock music. So Michelangelo was definitely one that, and you can kind of hear it in my voice too. Like Michelangelo was definitely somebody I was drawn towards. But I'm also, I find out on the 13th whether I am autistic or not. But I have but I do have ADHD. I've always been kind of the weird kid, but I'm also very smart in a way. Like I was pointing out earlier, like with the designs and stuff and how that could be like, stuff like that most people wouldn't pick up on. And that's how Donatello is. So I fluctuate from Donatello and Mikey all the time. I wouldn't like. I love Leo and Wrath, and they're great, but like Leo and
You're
Donnie
Troy
right
and
now.
Abed.
Yeah, they're my Troy and Abed. Yeah, and
You're
and
Troy
so
and Abed. That's so funny.
I am both. It's so I fluctuate from Donatello right now. Donnie, right? It's Donnie right now.
Yeah.
But Mikey will always have that place in my heart. Like if he were making
Mhm.
TikToks, I'd be following him. He'd have the best TikTok. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I say I'm just
quick question before Johnson. Schuby, would you are your favorite turtles the same turtles that you personally identify with?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
I mean, if I don't want to relate to the character, why would I be like I'm a fan of all characters,
Yeah.
but like it's the ones I relate to because I'm always a fan of the weird kid. The autistic coded one is usually the one I'm drawn to, if I'm going to be honest with
That's
you.
fair.
So, and they're usually the ones on up, Abed, we were talking about Abed there, Polka Man, Velma, Frank, Billy Cranston is my favorite Power Ranger of all time. Let's be honest, that boy is autistic, and he is on the spectrum in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's always all going out, and it's like that's the one I identify with the most. So and there's not many, neurotypical characters. Well, there's neurotypical coded, like Spider-Man, for example. They'll never say he's autistic, but let's be honest here,
Okay.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
stuff like that.
All right. Very nice. Johnson, you were gonna jump in?
yes, I was. Would you mind reintroducing the question just for everybody?
Yeah.
Real quick.
The question was generally speaking of all the Ninja Turtles, not just in this movie, all the Ninja Turtles, who is your favorite?
Okay, I say I'm gonna look dead in the camera and I'm gonna stand on business when I say this. I don't have one,
Okay.
and and in order to elaborate, for me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is what works, and it's
Yes.
just like you need those groups and you need those dynamics to play off of each other. Because I mean, we literally have actual media proof that what is Michelangelo's joy and sunshine if he doesn't have his brothers to bounce it off of? We have the Ronin verse to prove
Exactly.
that.
Right.
We
Needs all
need
four.
about to say just like what good is Leonardo's leadership if he has no team to lead? What good is Raphael's strength if he has nobody to shoulder and carry it for? What good what good is Donatello if he's is like constantly lost in all of his ideas and he has nobody to pull him back into reality?
Right.
Rise of the TMNT, Leonardo said it best. I need my brainy guy, I need my strong guy, and I need my eats his peanut butters with his fingers guy. I'm nothing without these guys. And that's how I wholeheartedly feel about the team. I can't pick one.
Okay.
That's a great answer, man.
So let me follow that up with: do you identify with one of them?
I mean, it definitely varies. I would probably say I identify somewhere with Mikey the most personally, but I mean, I feel like they definitely like intentionally did that in terms of how much of the everyman he is across every iteration. I've definitely also found myself, like Schuby, picking up some more just like Donnie traits as the iterations have gone on more and more. And I mean, just like I try to, distance myself from the Raphael fans. That's a joke.
Okay.
Say if you're a Raphael fan, you were never told no as a kid, and I'm standing on that. No context.
I feel like Raphael fans are the type of fans that, like, when you ask them what, like, as a kid, when you ask them what their favorite hero, like, superhero is, they're like, it's Lobo, Wolverine, Spawn,
Don't forget the Hulk.
Raphael.
It's just edgelord stuff, Just like,
Yeah.
Totally.
I just want people
And there's
to
nothing
get
wrong with
stabbed.
that. Let's be honest. We all love them to an
Oh
extent.
yeah.
Everybody has their place.
I'm taking my edgelord phase to the grave.
So it's interesting that you guys the way you guys say that, because I'm gonna circle back to kind of what Johnson had said. But me personally, my favorite, it depends. Like, my favorite designed character is always Donnie, because like the way an artist will draw Donnie, it changes, right? Like, do they give him goggles? Do they give him glasses? Sometimes no glasses at all. Do they like
Shout
bulk
out to
him
the
up
tooth
with
gap.
equipment?
Yeah, the tooth gap.
Yeah.
Bucktooth Donnie supremacy.
And then you got Rise, where he's like beefed up. He's like muscular as.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
what
like
this
how
dude's
people
been fucking
interpret his character in the design is always super cool to see. Mikey might be my favorite character, but I do agree with Johnson about you need all of them, right?
Yeah.
And so like when it comes to who I identify with, I would love for my life to be all Mikey. Like I wish I lived that life that I could be Mikey all the time. But I am a mix of Mikey and Donatello, and then in cases in which I have to get stuff done, I'm Leo, right?
Yeah.
Like this podcast, this live
You
stream
definitely
podcast,
give off Leo vibes.
I have to. Well, I have to be. Would I like to not be Leo? Yeah, but
I'd say
I gotta get stuff done.
Leo is the instance of doing what you have to do so you can get back to doing what you want to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He's the work hard so Mikey can play hard.
right. And if there's two people in my head, Leo and Mikey, Leo has to do the work so Mike can come out later, you know?
Yeah. We all have that Leo in our head.
But Johnson was saying that like you need all four, and that actually is part of like a centuries old writing called theory or technique or whatever called the four temperaments.
Yeah.
And so the four temperaments are essentially the four Ninja Turtles. And when you write like a team of four, you want to kind of have the four Ninja Turtles essentially in whatever you're writing, you know? Because they play off each other so well.
And people have been trying to do that with the Robins lately. Like, I'm like, yeah, to an extent, but like, honest here, okay? Because like, you got your smart one, Tim Drake, Donatello. You got your rage-filled one, Jason Todd, Raphael. You got your leader, Nightwing. And then Damian is the only one left, so it's like he has to be Mikey.
And let's also put these let's put this debate to rest right now. I think that we can all agree Ninja Turtles in 4, they're sweeping the Robins. I'm sorry.
Yes.
They
know how to work better.
I will agree. Only because my enjoyment of any character does not rely on them beating other characters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Batman is super cool. He doesn't need to beat everybody. He's cool on his own. Like, And so I love the Robins, but I don't need them to beat every foursome in a fight. So Ninja Turtles could beat them, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I do want to shout out the poll that I did on the Keeg on Instagram. So at the Keeg Show on Instagram, we did an Instagram story poll. I asked people what their favorite Ninja Turtle is. We got almost half of the people said Raphael. So 45% said Raph. Then 27% said Michelangelo.
That's weird.
18% said Donatello, and 9% said Leo. So
I was like, nah.
That actually kind of blows my mind.
I can believe that the Raphael fans are outside because they're in my comment section every day.
Yeah, same.
They're
I would assume that Raph and Mikey have the biggest fans. Like
they're like the Snyder fans of the Turtle franchise. Like they're very dedicated to Raph.
People who
Raphael, like dedication.
Yeah.
Not by
Raphael fans
like,
are the Taylor Swift fans of TMNT.
That's a better way. I should have said Taylor Swift.
I
meant
know.
like within dedication, not within being toxic.
I think Snyderverse is a good thing because I feel like Raphael fans want 4 Raphs on the team.
At least the one's good.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's also why they're pushing so hard for, like the hard R-rated, Ninja Turtle movie or live action series.
Yeah.
That's say no. I don't know if anybody heard my joke. I kind of snuck it in there. Raphael fans are the Taylor Swift fans of the Ninja Turtle.
Oh yeah, no, we got that one.
No, we heard that. I'm saying I'm agreeing with Schuby, more of a Snyderverse thing.
It's a good mix of the two, I would say.
Yeah.
Very dedicated, but very loud.
Yeah. Wednesday poll on our chat says Raph definitely has the most quote unquote passionate fans. Haha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Nerd Initiative, shout out to Nerd Initiative, first time chatter here.
Oh yeah,
by the
I
way,
invited them. Yeah.
Anyone here on Twitch, like and follow and whatever, do your thing. click around and definitely follow Johnson and Schuby on social media. But Nerd Initiative says, I love Leonardo, but he is totally the Cyclops of the team. And I also agree. I think X-Men needs Cyclops. Like, you can talk shit on Cyclops all you want, but Cyclops is necessary for the X-Men, in my opinion.
But I say, like, when people try to, boil Leonardo down, I mean, like, and I've quoted myself, like, I'm quoting myself when I say this, like, yeah, he can sometimes be basic, but sometimes it's okay to be basic.
The Boy Scout, the Boy Scout trope is not a bad thing.
Like, yeah, and I mean, just like, if you really, go there and, dig deep into the nuance bag, there's so much more there in his 2003 interpretation. There's a lot of layers to his 2007 interpretation in the TMNT movie, despite how flawed that character was written, in my opinion. And I mean, or we can go the route of, Rise of the TMNT, where it's like, hey guys, we're finally trying something new with Leonardo. Why'd you make him just like Mikey? And it's just like, I thought you guys didn't want him to be, basic Wonder Bread Turtle Man anymore.
And personally, in this adaptation, Nicholas Cantu, most people know him from his role on Amazing World of Gumball, where he did a fantastic job. But honestly, Leo trying to be the leader here. It's almost like, he's not. It's like he's done being silly, and now he's finally trying to stand up, and be the leader. And that's what I love about this movie as well. It's like, not only does it have like a star-studded cast, but like the story arcs of each of the turtles, and I really can't wait to see them. What is it? Dovin?
Divin? Yeah.
Diving?
Yeah.
I'm a writing major. I don't even. Anyway, but I can't wait to see they explored more. I can't wait to see, because especially Leonardo. Nicholas Cantu has a great wisp to his voice, like an energetic to his voice, but at the same time he can, and it's crazy because like he's so young, and like Brady Moon as well when it comes to Raph as well. Going back to Raph, because I wanted to say this earlier, like Raph, Brady Moon. Have you guys ever seen the movie Good Boys?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so he was in the movie Good Boys as well. And I remember when they said all of them will be actual teenagers before the casting, like months, I should have made a video just so I could be like, haha, I called it, because like I knew in my heart, I was like, that boy is going to be Raph. I know for a fact. And he did, so like literally all of them. Micah Abbey is such, like, I remember everybody was freaked out because Donnie sounded younger than Mikey. And I was like, I like that. I think that's cool. And Micah Abbey did such a fantastic job. Same with Shaman. Is it Shaman Brown Jr.? Shaman Brown Jr. Thank you. Yeah, all of them. Just I want to give them all their flowers. Totally. And the shots with
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But if I could like interject, you were talking about Leo. And while we're going back, while we're still in the realm of kind of like, these character dynamics and aspects, I really did appreciate Leonardo in terms of, because I mean, it wasn't like he was trying to, put his proverbial foot on his brother's shells in terms of being the leader. He was just trying to keep the peace in terms of his brothers, wanting to go out and be buck wild. And it's just like, hey guys, 1, we're still kids. 2, we're unsupervised. 3, we're freaking talking turtles. About to say, just like, and that makes me think about, if you go to the soundtrack, the official TMNT soundtrack, the opening song where the turtles are on the roof is literally called Dipshits on a Roof. And that is the funniest thing that I just noticed about the score. And it's just like, but like trying to balance that and be like, I have been that child trying to, but I'll say, or I have been like that member of the family trying to keep a bunch of other people in line, where it's just like, hey, like we was about to say, like there's an authority figure trying to figure out what the heck we're doing. So can we please remember that this is bigger than what we want right now.
Can I say something about the soundtrack real quick though?
Let's talk the soundtrack.
Please. Because, like, can we please talk about the coolness of how we found out about? Okay, so the people who did the score, they won an Oscar for The Social Network and I believe Soul, Disney Soul. They won an Oscar. It's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and they are both from Nine Inch Nails. They are the Trent Reznor was the lead singer and Atticus was a producer. So Nine Inch Nails, they worked on stuff before. Do you want to know how we found out they were going to be on this movie? Tony Hawk accidentally slipped it into a podcast saying, Tony Hawk slipped in. He was like, by the way, I was talking to these guys, and like he let it slip out that they were going to be scored. So, like, it's like the coolest, like, it's like 2003 as hell. You
Yeah, and
know?
there's another layer to that,
I was like,
Schuby,
that's
because
so
Seth
Ninja Turtles, bro.
And there's another layer to that, Shuby, because Seth Rogen, around the same time, did an interview saying that he wants to take inspiration from the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack for how
Yes,
he wants the movie music to sound like.
and like yeah, and with the soundtrack, like just the not the score, but the soundtrack. Oh my gosh, dirty old. Can I curse? Because
Yeah.
like his name's okay, dirty old
ODB, just
bastard. Shimmy. I remember when Shimmy Shimmy Yaw started playing. Like I played a lot of Skate 3, so I knew that song right off the bat. Annie Up, Open the Film, No Diggity from Dr. Dre. I mean, my buddy, he was just like, bro, I'm gonna need you to send me the playlist if there is one. I was like, yeah, I got you. And
okay.
I thought that it held together. And I didn't know about the pro skater thing, but it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I was a little personally disappointed that there was not an original hip hop song because
Yeah,
I mean, like, if you guys know me and if my followers can attest to this, I do a series where I talk about all of the hip hop elements that have been threaded throughout Ninja Turtles history, and I literally call it TMNT's legacy of hip hop. It
yeah.
starts with Partners in Crime in 1990, and it has just been threaded beautifully through all of these different little nuanced versions and variants. And it's just like, honestly, like there was an interview with the original 1987 voice cast where they literally talked about that they wanted to, infuse, that street slash hip hop culture, which we know what that's coded for. And it's just like, that's why literally Barry Gordon, the original voice of Donatello, his very first opening line was like, watch it, homeboy. And it's just like that type of
It sounds
stuff
like the
is
quick
just a
mode.
really,
Watch it, homeboy.
Yeah. I mean, the soundtrack, Carson in our chat says the soundtrack was amazing. Can I kick it as the credits?
yes, you can.
Yeah, yes, you can.
I saw a little Seth Rogen also in
Seth
some of the
Rogen's
song
definitely
choices.
one with hip hop.
You
Yeah,
know?
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
And if you guys go on Spotify, they actually put all of the songs, that they did, and then they added some others like DMX, like party, what it's I forgot the name. It's a party song. It's like y'all gonna make me lose my mind
Yeah,
up
up
in
in
here.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that song's on there. But what I thought was funny was the official Paramount Pictures like Spotify account put all of the explicit songs. They deliberately did that. I'm like, dude, that is the funniest thing.
And
It's like, oh, mommy, can we listen to it? It's like, okay, so you know what I mean? We gonna go.
but that's really kind of strange because they sat there and made Nicholas Cantu take off of his story when he freaking posted
Leo in
no
cups.
hands by Waka Flocka.
Oh,
And I remember
really?
I saw this. Yeah, and I remember I saw this one discussion. They were just like, it's not the fact that a white actor used Waka Flocka. It's the fact, does Leonardo use the N word? And I was like, and I made a joke. I was just like, Leo doesn't. Raph, on the other hand, because they live underground, so they don't know about like what's wrong and right to say
Right.
sometimes. And I was just like, I guarantee you, Raph does. I don't think Leo does.
Well,
Raph's got the do-rag. I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah, right.
side note, I mean, people online have constantly, I mean, since the dawn of time, asking what race are the turtles? And in and of itself, we can say that, like, okay, do turtles have that concept of like a human race? That being said, like, what are they coded as, right? Like, so in the recent comics, was it the Power Rangers one? They had
Power Rangers Ninja
Yes.
Turtles
Yeah,
Volume
Power
2.
Rangers,
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
They had image inducers. And me
Yes.
personally, I love that idea of how do they look when if you were to create a persona for yourself, how does that work? Because I'm tired of when I don't know if you've seen like when fan art people, when like fan artists will draw like these Disney animals when they draw them human, and it's like everybody is white as humans, and it's like, dude, like we're talking Lion King characters as all it's just like white human Simba.
Just
like,
just out on the African Serengeti.
And it's like, what?
I told my friend for this movie especially, I told my friend, I was just like, they did everything but just say they were black. And he was like, I agree, and I agree with Johnson though.
Yeah.
You are under the assumption that they are Blasian, and I fully agree with that. I love your video about Master Splinter, and you were like, this version of Master Splinter does this, and then and I think that's probably one of my favorite videos, man. And I sent that to my buddy, and he was just like, yep, it's pretty
bro, you do not put Master Splinter in that Jerry Curl 1989 just let your soul glow fro and not expect me to make a video like that. I'm sorry. That's it was above me from the day the trailer came out.
I love Splinter in this, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I enjoy Splinter, but for me, like, this is where I'm going to start getting more into my bigger critiques of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like this movie, it borrowed a lot from a lot of the previous Ninja Turtles movies that I wasn't expecting it to borrow from. And I'm not really the biggest fan of the erasure of Hamato Yoshi. I'm just not. Because when you finally introduce the Foot Clan, it makes the stakes significantly less personal when Hamato Yoshi isn't there to provide the subtext of this is what the Turtles are fighting for, the vengeance of his death.
So Hamato Yoshi was the man who trained Splinter?
He was his
Hamato Yoshi
and Splinter sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, here, I'll do one version, you do the other. Hamato Yoshi, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. In the original comic, Hamato Yoshi is a man who owns a pet rat. That pet rat would eventually become Splinter. But I mean, Hamato Yoshi, he trained with Oroku Saki, and he is eventually murdered out of jealousy by Saki, and that's pretty much what starts the entire rivalry between the Hamato clan and the Foot Clan.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's the version where it's basically the same story. However, instead of him being a pet rat, Hamato Yoshi is sent to America and finds these turtles, and a rat was the last thing that he was near, thus turning him into a rat. And but for this one, they definitely he was a street rat, And I agree. I wish they could have and I think maybe they play into it in the actual show, especially now that Shredder, and I think that's why they didn't bring that up, because they didn't have to. Shredder wasn't the villain.
I'm glad for that, by the way, because I'm also glad for a Batman movie that doesn't have the Joker. Like, I don't need
absolutely
that.
Yeah, but I mean, for me personally, I was still a little disappointed because I'm still waiting on an actual movie or actual just story in general that treats Baxter Stockman as a viable threat. I was ready to go for this and, rock for Baxter Stockman, but regardless of how he looked or what he was going to do, and you got the star power of Giancarlo Esposito, Moff Gideon, and it's just gone in the first 5 minutes of the opening movie.
I don't think he's dead. He's got arrested, and I think he will be working alongside Maya Rudolph, the Krang.
Wait a minute, he's not he got blown up. That tank went. No, dude, that tank went. He was not breathing at the beginning of that movie.
I doubt he's dead. Even if we were meant to think he's dead, he's coming back. That is Giancarlo Esposito. I don't think he's going to team up with Utrum. I don't think that he's going to, because they were at odds. I think he's just going to be his own faction,
But how's he going to escape then? And I mean, they teased that Superfly's coming back at the end of the movie, so that kind of, I feel like that would just kind of defeat.
Yeah.
I interpret it as Baxter Stockman dies in that house fire. I mean, but like in the explosion.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just kind of. But I mean,
have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Are the soldiers dead? No, right?
Only 3 of those there was 10 people in that building. Only 3 of them come out. That building got. Bro, they molly wiped that whole building.
Well, maybe Baxter Stockman lives on through Superfly, and Ice Cube is going to be heavily part of these next few films or
Mhm.
or TV shows, whatever they go on with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the golden rule is if you don't see the body, they ain't gone. But I saw the body.
Until they literally, you got to see the body like get ripped apart or something, because otherwise he can
Yeah,
just come back.
yeah, no,
Or about to say like, and also you can't use time travel, which Ninja Turtles has done before. So who's to say what's gonna happen?
honestly,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that I liked about this movie as well. It was very grounded. It didn't jump into like even like the TMNT movie, like was it 2008, 2009? Um, Even that one, dealt with like the stars are aligning, thus opening a door to another dimension. And yes, the comics do get that weird sometimes. I will, Shredder came back from hell recently, so it's
Uh-huh.
like,
You know.
you know, uh, but like I like the fact that they're opening up like with like if I were to do like a live action universe thing, like kind of like Michael Bay tried to do, like I'd have like the way I'd introduce Bebop and Rocksteady would be before they are mutated, and Casey Jones would take them out, and that's how the movie would end. And then they would turn into Bebop and Rocksteady, and Casey Jones would, it's just stuff like that, little things like that. I like
That's
the fact
tight.
that it's grounded.
Yeah.
I like Bebop and Rocksteady in this though. I like the idea that like they're maybe misunderstood at worst. Like, sure, they can be opponents, they can be antagonists, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're also cousins. I like that
Yeah.
family dynamic that was in this movie because there's the
Yeah.
four turtles and there's a bunch of rejects, right? And like,
It's going.
Yeah.
It's really going to suck watching Shredder more than likely seduce Bebop, Rocksteady, probably
Yeah.
Scumbug, and maybe Wingnut out of, the
Wraith
family
Age or
dynamic that
Shredder.
they're kind of establishing. That's kind of my prediction of where the show is going to pick
Yeah,
up.
same.
Because, I mean, it's just like, it's going to be, way, about to say, just like, was about to say, like, all the mutants can't be good. It's just, was about to say, just like, it was like, or it's just like, if you're really going to go that route and you're going to create just an entirely new lineup of original characters, and just like the other guys are just going to kind of be there to maybe give guidance to the turtles, and kind of have these more slice of life, tongue in cheek moments. That would be interesting to see. I would love
yeah,
to see stuff that we really have not seen before with Ninja Turtles, which is why I applaud them for making the bold choice for not making any of the mutants humans in this movie.
yes,
Because I feel like if they really want to go there, they can really, start playing with, this, kind of theme of, what does it, actually take to, like be a human being, kind of like, just like, can you like, will you treat the mutants like second class citizens? And that's why also like, you know, the like the elephants in the room of like Leonardo's romance with April O'Neil, and kind of how they've always kind of had one foot in, one foot out in terms of those types of as like ideas with doing relationships for the Ninja Turtles. I've always said it's just about how you choose to write the world, and it's just like if you create a world that's like almost like the world of BoJack Horseman meets the X-Men, I think it's kind of doable.
yeah.
Fully agree.
I also could see Bebop and Rocksteady getting hypnotized or something along those lines to then fight for Shredder.
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, I feel like Shredder's gonna blackmail him, knowing Shredder, especially with how evil they made him look at the end. Like it wasn't like this wasn't '87 Shredder. It wasn't even '90s Shredder. No, this guy was like he's not coming to play.
Yeah,
This dude is, and I feel like they will go the Yamada Yoshi route, and I feel like the only reason why they didn't was because he wasn't in this movie, and that's like a core part of. And honestly, it's a core part of Splinter. I don't know. They should have had it. But like
yeah. I
once
think they
Shredder
took
comes
out the
in, they're
whole
gonna be like, "Who is
Japanese.
this guy, Master
Yeah,
Splinter?" And they're gonna be like,
yeah.
"Sit down, boys. We got a story
I
to
mean,
tell."
just like, can we talk about just the amount of stuff they borrowed from the Bayverse movies? Because I just thought that was the strangest thing. It's
Like what?
like them learning ninjutsu from a book slash movies,
Yeah,
the turtles being lab experiments, which I know is derived from the IDW comic, but it was popularized in the 2014 movie because they were lab experiments that got mutated into turtles.
Mm.
Then it's the whole, like I said, the erasure of Hamato Yoshi is the biggest thing for me personally. that I just really, like that's what really provides the biggest disconnect for me. But I mean, like in terms of how this story works, like I can't shave too many points against it, but it's just like it's something that I'm gonna continue to sit there and ask for more of.
Right.
I mean, I forget what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I threw a lot of you out there, just like
yeah, no,
it
it's
was
cool.
like in a very short.
Actually, there
span of
is
time.
something that I wanted to say earlier, but like when you were talking about our favorite parts, I actually had a few other things that like Johnson didn't say. If you don't mind, if I just slip those
Please,
in now,
please.
because there were so many beautifully shot like scenes, like angle, especially the no diggity part where they're like going do, and nothing will be more clean than when like everybody else kicked down a door and then it was just Raphael standing in front of a sliding door. That was so clean, man. I was like, this dude, yo. And then like it, and let's be honest, I think 100% killed that guy and with the swords, the first one. Like, there's no way he survived that.
Oh,
But
Splinter! I was like, yo, like the body count in this movie, like these turtles are not here to mess around. Master
yeah,
Splinter puts a freaking like cyber blade or like gun through a dude's head when he goes
yeah,
to rescue
do
his
not
son.
play around. But like watching like the side swipe kind of like kind of like how they do hallway scenes sometimes from the side
Yeah.
Yeah.
makes it look, yeah, I love that. It was so beautifully shot. And then of course the score, we talked about the score and all that, but like I loved the way that it was shot, and
Yeah.
like the visual parallels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the story of family. Jeff Rowe, I talked about him. He was a writer for Gravity Falls. He almost won the Oscar for Best Animated Film for co-directing Mitchell's versus Machines. Both of those are very, very family oriented stories. And that's why I was so excited when I heard that he got this film. I was like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
this is going to be a family story.
That's to say, and I mean for me, but I say another thing that I really like when you were talking, like you brought it up with the fighting sequence, and when you brought up Raphael, it just made me think about that. Can we talk about Raphael's style of fighting and how he is going for wrestling moves before he's going for being an actual ninja
He like
in
lifts the guy and dumps
90% of
him.
the fight? But like he just straight up elbow drops freaking not Toupe Tom, but like the last guy that they interrogate.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
absolutely loving all of those like little nuance in it. Because if you actually look in the background, and I know Schuby's definitely going to be like, oh, we're talking about background stuff. Well, let's talk about it. But it's just like in the scene where Splinter grounds the boys for like 6 months or whatever. On the back of the curtain, you can clearly see a wrestler, and I'm fairly certain I talked to my cousin about it, and he's a much bigger wrestling fan than I am, so he didn't think it was him. But I have to say that that's a nod to Kevin Nash, who was the original body for Super Shredder and Secret of the Ooze.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And like two of the actors that played was it Rocksteady? Well, we're also wrestlers. So
Yeah.
and so wrestling is definitely, but that's another thing that I love. Like it's the little details. Like Raph is not going ninja first; he's going wrestling first. Why? Because he loves wrestling.
And I
That's
say it's like,
something that a teenager would do.
and he wants to put you down and out.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's that little smile that he has right when that door opens. He's just like, oh, he's like
It's not a
WWE's.
problem.
That's what's going through his head right before he goes in,
Yeah.
And
Now he's got
and
the Mark Henry. Somebody finna get their ass kicked.
I wish I was a bigger wrestling fan because I could laugh at that.
I think
Sorry.
I think the fight scene that was like sideways, is it possible it was a reference to the side scrollers?
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely. I would
100% was.
definitely go with that. I mean, and it's just like the ending music fight sequence and how like all of that was straight ripped out of the video game in terms of how it was interpolated
Yeah.
Yeah.
when Genghis Frog is jumping and slingshotting the dude like he's Spider-Man and freaking just all of that cool stuff. Like there was so much love. Also, the milking scene.
Yes.
Like if you time it just right, you can see all four turtles being electrocuted at the same time. It shows their skeletons, and that's a reference to Turtles in Time, where they
Yeah.
get shocked and it's my toe,
Yeah.
my toe.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's. But can we also talk about the way that everybody is styled? 1987, even Ultra, like April O'Neil's wearing the yellow jacket like she does in this. They all have the letters on their belts like they do in the 1987 show. Ray Fillet is blue, just like that. Gang, like obviously they're changed, like to because this is his own thing. But even like Outram has like the rectangular sunglasses that
That's it.
that
She has the
Krang has.
rectangular. Also, she's wearing a yellow blazer and red
Yeah,
gloves.
yeah, no, and it's so many little things like that. And even Baxter Stockman looks like the version of himself. Like I Jonathan likes to say I look like him. I don't see it, but but
That's just in the Power Rangers universe. Just
right.
that one.
But yeah, no, in the 1987 show, he's like a nerdy, hunched over like guy, just like Baxter Stockman was in this movie. I love that. Like, it's obviously modernized, but it's definitely like you can see that they were watching the 87 show, especially involving characters like Ray Fillet and Genghis Frog, which I thought was amazing.
That's
Yeah.
a Wingnut, Leatherhead, all of those classic
Yeah,
characters. I mean,
and
like it's
Leatherhead, Rose Byrne as Leatherhead. I I remember hearing that for the first time. Like Rose Byrne as
okay. No, no, no.
Leatherhead.
This is the if she has one fan, it's me. If she has no fans, I'm dead.
I love Rose Byrne. Don't get me wrong, but it took me off
I've been a
guard.
Rose Byrne fan since the Adjustment Bureau in 2009. Like
Bro,
that's
I was
how
here
deep.
since
Is
Star
she
Wars,
in
okay?
that?
Yeah, she's the leading lady in Adjustment Bureau.
No, Adjustment Bureau is
That's
that's
Rose Byrne and Matt Damon
no.
and Anthony Mackie.
It's no,
He's
it's Johnson
I
Emma
can't speak.
Blunt, isn't it Emma Blunt?
I've never seen it, can't speak.
I'm pretty sure it's Rose Byrne, not Emily
I
Blunt.
know she was in Star Wars though. She played one of Padme's
Granted,
handmaids.
those two look very alike.
I
One's
remember
Australian,
Rose.
one's British, dude.
It's Emily Blunt.
Okay, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I'm sorry,
You,
Johnson.
you've been idolizing the wrong woman this whole time, bro.
Shout out to My Cow Moose 57 on Twitch for hopping in the chat, first time chatter. Definitely everybody like, comment, subscribe, and do your thing. Asks, wait, which turtle is on Dimitri's shirt? And it's Donnie. It's Donnie primarily.
Duncan
I
Don,
think, just
slam dunk.
He's got him a lot of basketball playing to do. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
Got him a lot of.
Got him a lot.
Got him a lot of.
It's just because he's purple. Lakers colors are yellow and purple, so you know.
And also slam dunk Don from the vintage toy line.
Oh,
Heck yeah, slam dunk Donnie.
you guys going for
And
deep cuts?
that's another thing. Can we talk about the toys from Playmates?
For this movie?
I mean, how deep do you?
Yeah.
I mean, like how I'm about to say,
Like
I'm sure
recreated,
I'm sure
like, for the
Dimithri wants to go to
Halloween
sleep
toys.
tonight, but sure.
Right. They kind of recreated like a lot of the vintage toys that they did. That's another thing that ties back to the 1987 show. They kind of recreate like astronaut Donatello, surfer dude Mikey. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big toy collector, but I did notice a lot of like similarities of these toys that compared to the 87 show.
Do you know which one wasn't the original?
I think it was Raph, right?
No, it was Sheriff Leo. They did a Sheriff Donnie figure, but that original wave, they definitely could not do the Leonardo figure that originally came in that one. You can go to the TMNT toy archive if you want to see what that one looked
Okay, I
like.
was about
But
to
like,
say, I
yeah.
was like, are you gonna tell us, or can
But
you
like, yeah,
not
I mean,
tell us?
Spock Donnie was an original one. Space Cadet Raph, Beach Bum Mike, but yeah, it just
The
you
toys were
gotta love
wild
all that stuff.
back in the day.
Playmates was on, yeah, and they recreated a lot of it to the style of this movie, and I thought that was. And I'm not even a toy collector, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I am.
I have a something that because one of you guys did a video on it. The baby turtles. I love the baby turtles in this movie.
Turtle Tots, let's get it.
The
What are we talking about?
We love them.
I think it was Johnson's video that I had seen talking about turtle tots. That like these are my favorite turtle tots. Maybe it's just me. I love the turtle tots in this movie. Do you guys have a favorite turtle tots?
I'm not
Probably the
gonna lie to you.
2003 series ones, just because like it's literally just the original cast voice actors trying their best to get their voices up, and it's the funniest thing. Wayne Grayson, Michael Center Nicholas, all those guys love them.
Rob Paulson, and I love the what did they say, like tiny turtle? You know?
Oh, I see them. Yeah, I'm looking them up right now.
I say,
thought you said
and
like tiny.
they all sported do rags, like in that is like when they were babies in that one. So the fact
And
that split,
yeah, I thought when you said tiny, like favorite time, I thought you meant like from this version specifically. Because let's be honest, little Donnie was so adorable with his big old glasses on his
no,
tiny
I'm
face,
sorry, that
and
I
little Raph
say
too.
like yeah, like that little chungus menace that is Raphael.
Little fat boy, that little
Oh,
big boy right
he's
there.
thick. I love
So
it. I love it all.
yeah, no, like he was like like he was definitely he didn't skip meals. He was adorable,
About
and
to say like about to say like me over here out of breath trying to pick him up. Don't speak to me or my son ever again. Get over here.
dude, there was so, but like I love like the big old glasses that because Donnie's wearing the same glasses as a teenager as a full grown turtle, So
Yeah.
and he's like wearing them as a baby. It was so cute.
I say I also love how they just like Donnie literally just picks a pair of glasses up out of the sewer and that's the end of it. So for all the
Yeah,
fans out there that are literally just like, where does Donatello even go to get glad? That's where. Now let it go.
He found the right prescription for himself, and that's okay.
called a coincidence, people.
But
Those
Donatello
happen.
finding the right prescription on his own is probably a smaller statistical anomaly than there being 4 turtles that learn ninjutsu. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing
And
that
a
out there.
father who is ethnically Japanese. That was one thing that we were talking about when I showed my friends the original 1990. Because my friend told me she had never seen Ninja Turtles, and she was surprised that Splinter was a rat. We were watching the Batman versus Turtles movie. She was like, "Her dad's a rat," and I was like, "You've never seen Ninja Turtles?" It was like I was like, "We're fixing this. We are fix." And when we were watching it, and she was just like, if I saw a rat talking to me, I'd run away. I was like, if I saw a rat talking to me, he would have my full attention. And then my friend goes,
That if
especially if he was ethnically Japanese and he
I
had to
say
tell
just
me his
like
life story.
if there was a about to say like if there was a rat talking to me, I was like oh, like okay, we've waited our entire moment for is our entire lives for this. We cannot mess
Let me.
this up. I do not care how scary the rat man looks. We are about
If
to be
he
best
told me,
friends.
if a rat came up to me and said, I'm about to tell you my life story, you got my full attention. All right. Like a giant rat's about to tell me his life.
I don't.
I'm here.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna attack the rat that didn't do me any harm. I'm not gonna attack him. But also, you don't know if a rat monster is gonna eat you.
Plus, it's New York. They're pretty much that big anyway.
I mean, hey, what did 2012 Splinter say? Just like you should never cause any harm unless your intention is to do harm. Then cause lots of harm. That's the way of the ninja.
Yeah, I don't know whether I would stop to talk to Splinter or not. Or I might be like, hey, let me back up and we can have a conversation at like a good distance.
Let me get the Lysol spray first.
That's a full arm extension, just so that way you just can't snap and bite my nose off.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I'm like, okay, stay. Now
Next
we
thing
can
you know,
talk.
it comes out with that tail and brings you closer anyway.
I'm like, I'm not
No,
letting my
and
guard down.
I would become the Rat King at that point.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, what's up?
If you were a mutant, who would you want to be?
Like what animal?
Oh yeah, just like if you could just like on the fly. We don't have to answer it right now. We can kind of come back to it if you think about it. But like, yeah, I really would like to know your guys' answers on that.
Ooh.
Probably a kangaroo. That'd be cool.
A kangaroo would be cool, but like I want to fly.
Oh yeah.
So,
no,
but I would not want to be a bat. I wouldn't want to be an insect. So probably like a bird, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, I would probably turn myself into like a little monkey. That'd be cute. I'd be a cute little monkey.
But the problem with monkeys.
Relax, Beast Boy.
Problem with monkeys
Yeah,
is
what
that,
are you
like,
talking about, bro?
I knew he was good.
What are you gonna do about this, bro?
they're too close to humans, though. That's the problem. Like,
Yeah, but
do you
I
get
can
much
climb
by
anything.
being a mutant monkey? Yeah, you get to climb things. You get a tail.
I was still doing the voice.
Sergeant Bananas. I mean, but
You can
I
like
feel
open
like
things with your feet, but like,
I would star in my own production of Tarzan.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
I mean,
But I'd be a little monkey. I'd be like a normal size.
I
My
would
kangaroo would be my second choice. Yeah.
I'd be like a falcon or something. Like I'd be like Falco in Star Fox.
nice. Yeah,
You know?
I can respect.
Yeah.
You'll be Falco. I'll be Wolf.
Okay. Would you be a wolf?
I would like to.
I was
I would like to be something, that would just, something that would obviously, just naturally enhance most of my natural physical abilities. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to catch up and outrun a dog. Sometimes it's hard to,
Oh, dude.
outjump a
Can I change my answer to a
kangaroo.
dog?
Yeah.
Can I change my answer to a dog? Because then I
Sure.
could just cuddle up with anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
By the
like,
way, we
"Oh,
can't switch back
get
and
over
forth
here.
in this
Let me
hypothetical,
just
right?
cuddle up with you."
We're forever
Boom.
living our life as that animal, right?
Oh, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to pick a rabbit so I can fight with my ears.
Okay, because like, yeah, my understanding is that we are permanently changed into some mutant animal
Mm-hmm.
human hybrid, right? But then
Nice.
That's
now
just a
that
hard
like
question.
I'm thinking about it, I don't want a beak for the rest of my life. You can't kiss. You can't like. Can you eat stuff? Maybe, but like you can. But like, is it the same kind of?
Mhm.
I don't know.
I'll say, yeah, I'll go with a rabbit so that way the work that I have to do to become a vegetarian is that much easier.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good answer.
Okay.
I'll go with kangaroo. Kangaroo Jack, more specifically. That's who I would be.
Dude, kangaroos are jacked. Have you seen?
No,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'd be stealing money from what's his name from Blackish? What's his name? Ah, man, Anthony Anderson. Yeah, dude. Put the jacket on the bunny and then on the kangaroo, and then he hopped away. Like
I'm a
Oscar
kangaroo.
worthy.
I am a pocket.
Dude, I can't believe that movie has 2 stars. I remember it being so good.
Kangaroo
Anyway,
Jack.
yeah, dude.
So as we're starting to wind things down, do we have any more criticisms about this movie? Because one of my criticisms is just like the fact I don't like asymmetry in general. So when it came to the human designs, I was like, the human designs weren't it for me. But if I'm borrowing kind of what we had talked about, that it was on purpose to make the humans be the weird looking ones while the animal characters are like cooler,
because they're trying to fit in. That's like their whole thing,
right? And so the idea that like there's nothing wrong with the Ninja Turtles, they're not the weird looking ones. They need to, we need to accept that the Ninja Turtles are perfectly normal. The humans are the weird looking ones.
Yeah, and then at the end, I like the fact that they also came out to the public. A lot of people hated that. They're like, the Ninja Turtles don't come out to the public. I was like, you clearly never read a Ninja Turtle comic.
Also, it's a different
They're out here in a
adaptation.
VW microbus. Like, they're in a microbus. There's a whole town called Mutant Town in the IDW run.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're very well known.
Also, it's a new adaptation. It's okay for things to be different.
Yeah, let them cook. That's definitely like, I was talking about this on Twitter earlier today, actually. We can't really expect to have success with Ninja Turtles if we're just readapting City at War once every 10 years. Yeah, and I mean, for me, I think like but it's like, I think that the last really big criticism I have was just in terms of, I mean, like for me personally, I mean, we were talking about, the actors earlier. I wasn't the biggest fan specifically of Raphael's characterization, at least with the jokes that he had. It kind of felt like Brady Noon just watched a bunch of Family Guy and then was just doing his best Seth MacFarlane impression for me personally.
How so?
Like there's like this one scene, I mean, like the puke girl scene when they're in the high school with April. He's like, you don't want to be a puke girl anymore? You don't like that? That's straight up, what, you don't want to turn on the catwalk, Lois? Huh? You don't want to turn on the catwalk? That's what I kind of picked that up as. And then for me, another one was the whoa, Lois, this is not my Batman glass. I was waiting for him to say that. That's straight from Family Guy.
Wait, did he say that in this movie?
No, he goes, whoa. So you're in? Like, that's the whole thing. And I mean, it's just like, it just really felt like in terms of, and obviously the comedy that teenage boys like is going to be akin to Family Guy, The Simpsons, stuff like that. It's timeless stuff like that. So it's not a mark that I'm holding against him by any means. And I want to make that very clear. It's just like, for me, I just wish that with how much, improv stuff, and obviously these are young guys. They're still very green in terms of where their careers have to go and blossom. But it's just like, I just kind of wish that there was, like a more unique style to the sense of comedy to this film, personally.
Yeah.
It felt like they were all everything felt so safe in this movie to me.
Yeah, and I can agree with you on that one. Like, I wouldn't say Brady Moon, but like, there was a lot of improv, and they let them kind of riff with each other, like the bacon, egg, and cheese, the bacon, egg, and cheese. Like I feel in my soul that was like I feel like bacon, egg, and cheese. Like I got my puff and my Tims, and all that. I feel like that was definitely in the script, but then they just started going and go like, and then with the
I
band, and I love the scene so much, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love that scene. I repeat it all the time. I'll be in the supermarket, I'll be like bacon, egg, and cheese. Let me get that bacon, egg, and cheese, But like,
I
but
will
like
pay so much
them
money.
riffing off of each other was something that I was fully expecting, especially because they're actually teenagers, and that's stupid stuff that they do.
I will pay so much money for somebody to just leak the cell phone footage of those boys in that booth with Jeff Rowe, Andrew Joustra, and Seth Rogen. Somebody recorded them doing the bacon, egg, and cheese bit. You can't Paramount. I know
and
you're
then you'll
looking
hear
at this podcast. Somebody has that footage. Release it. I'm begging you.
Release the bacon, egg, and cheese cut.
Exactly. Release the bacon, egg, and cheese footage. I'm begging you.
Right, all you can hear is they do have it, but all you can hear is Seth Rogen in the back.
That would be that's probably true.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
So what are you guys looking forward to that's coming out on the horizon when it comes to Ninja Turtles? Whether like it's the show or whatnot. I don't know what else has been talked about like that's set to come out.
Johnson, you want to go first?
All right, I will.
Okay.
Well, I mean, next year is the 40th anniversary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general, and so obviously I'm expecting, a lot of stuff we're seeing a lot of stuff already on the horizon. Playmates has reissued multiple toys from the original vintage toy line. They also started reissuing toys from the 2003 toy line. Here's my reissued Donnie right here. And so, so that's stuff that I'm really excited about. Obviously, I'm excited for the show. I've already kind of started throwing out my predictions and theories about stuff, because if you guys remember the first lieutenant of Cynthia Utrom, I'm about to say just like, and if we're saving, I was about to say this video, right? I'm calling my shot. I think that is Dirk Savage from the original 87 cartoon. Dirk Savage, Mutant Hunter. Go back and look it up if you guys are familiar. If you know, you know.
Okay.
And but just like I would really love to get some type of any word on that other Casey Jost, Colin Jost live action project, if it's going to see the light of day or if it's just like we're moving on with Mutant Mayhem. The comics are thriving. I would really love to see other past iterations of the Turtles come back to life in comic form, and just like we could seriously have a Spider-Verse level event if IDW really wanted to do it, I feel like. And it's just like that would probably be the best way for us to really get Turtles Forever too, quote unquote. It was just like let it live on in the comics for me personally. Right. But like I said, like the merchandising, the fan engagement, all of the events, like this is going to be probably the biggest pop since Turtle Mania, the original run back in the 90s that, you lived through, Dimithri. But yeah, I'll say it now. This is the best era to be a Ninja Turtles fan. And I'm standing on that.
Because there's also, not only is there a lot of stuff out right now, there's a lot of stuff to come, right?
Exactly.
100%. Yeah, and piggybacking off of what Johnson said, I also want to see what comes out of this. Colin Jost and his brother's name is Casey.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Casey.
Calling CCJ TMNT. That's a lot. Anyway, I would love to see more of that. Obviously, the last Ronin game is looking super phenomenal. I finally got a PS5, so yeah, I would love to see that. I can't wait to see that. The I can't wait for another trailer. That's what because they did so good with this like opening trailer that they did, homaging all of the actual points in the movie. I did a whole video breaking that down. And I would also can't wait to see what IDW has planned to do. Like Johnson's right. What they could do like a Spider-Verse level of that. I don't want them to go multiverse with this. Like personally, I feel like Ninja Turtles just needs to be separate stories and maybe not connect them, because everything's getting connected these days. Marvel's doing it. DC
Ninja Turtles did it first in 2009, but that's none of my business.
Yeah, and they don't have to do it again. They don't have to do it again. But
Turtles forever, but they weren't the first for multiverse in general.
Yeah, first for a feature-length film, superhero movie.
kind of.
Okay.
But yeah, but like comic wise, I mean, like they don't need to do like Spider-Geddon or Spider-Verse or anything. But like there's so many different things that I am excited for. Obviously, this new series that's coming out. I hope to God they introduced the Rat King in this like I have made it very clear to my friends. I don't know if I've done because it's kind of a hot take. But I am not a fan of the Shredder being like the main villain because there's so many great villains and the Rat King is one of my personal favorites. And that's why I loved the Armageddon game that recently came out in the IDW run. I loved it a little more than Last Ronin, if you ask me, and I know that's a hot ass take. Anyway, but Rat King is such a cool character, and I would love to see that introduced a little bit after this Shredder arc that they have coming up.
Also, if I gotta just add one more thing, give me all of the crossovers. If I can get freaking a Ninja Turtles Ben 10 crossover, if I could get the Samurai Jack crossover,
I didn't know we were
like literally just like I want to see the Ninja Turtles. I really feel like they should be kind of like the prime minister of Nickelodeon, if that makes sense. Like SpongeBob keeps the lights on, don't get me wrong, but the Ninja Turtles are the perfect bridge between all of the other popular characters in the entire Nickelodeon lineup. And they can just have their personalities bounce off of literally anybody from Nickelodeon's catalog. So I would really love to see them open the vaults on that because we're 10 years now into the Nickelodeon era, which is mind-boggling to think about. But if there's one thing that we have definitive proof of, they're not afraid to take risks with this IP. And so I definitely really respect them for that. And I really can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Especially, they got to get Johnson right in that Kung Fu Panda Ninja Turtle crossover that you pitched, dude. I think of all the pitches that you gave, that one is definitely the best.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would love, obviously just do the main one that everybody wants, Daredevil. Just do it already, damn it.
We'll be able to do that in Fortnite in 10 days. Don't worry.
Oh, you fight the hand? Well, we fight the foot. Oh, your master's name is Stick? Well, ours is Sticker. What do you think? Kingpin, he runs all the crime in New York? Oh, our guy's name is Shredder.
Yeah. Carson in our chat says, I need another Batman Ninja Turtles movie with this art style and a silly voice actor to play Batman like Will Arnett.
I actually did when the movie first came out. I tweeted the director, and he was like, "Yeah, I would love to do a second movie." So I mean, the director would be down.
They have that stinger at the end, and I mean, just like even if they want to, just go off and do their own thing, I would definitely love to see those guys all come back. Because I mean, like Eric Bauza killed it as Leonardo. Barry Vaughn, I believe his name was the voice of Donatello. Like, like that guy was one of the most underrated like that entire cast is probably one of the most underrated iterations of Ninja Turtles in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Mooney as Michelangelo was such a great one.
Oh yeah. The sum of their parts, I say it's a top 5 Ninja Turtles movie.
Okay. I would love to see an animated Power Rangers Ninja Turtles movie.
I didn't retweet. That. Yes.
Retweet.
Like, that would be super cool. Also,
but don't bring back the original cast. Don't bring back the original Mighty Morphin cast. Obviously, like there are some characters that can't. I feel like you should get some actors who can kind of bring life. It's like a newer version of the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
If you were to do that.
Crazy would be if you get the live action movie that like didn't get a sequel. If you get those Power Rangers.
Oh no! Yes. He's cooking right now. Okay, we got to cut the camera off. We got to get a Google Doc open right now.
Yes,
I'm just saying that'd be cool.
Yes. Yeah. RJ Kyler come back. Oh, dude,
all right. That's a wrap, everybody. We got some work to do.
Baker Montgomery, you guys.
If they're not doing anything with that Power Rangers, might as well.
Princess Jasmine, you get your ass in here and start filming for Kimberly again.
Also, I would love like, and I know it goes against kind of what we said earlier, but I think it would be cool to show if we got 4 different comic series on each of the Ninja Turtles, give them all a solo series, not to show how cool they are alone, but to show how different they would be just doing their own sort of adventures with different supporting cast.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even with Mikey having Last Ronin, like, even you know,
I don't.
let
But
him.
I'm not talking about one where they're all
Yeah, I know.
dead.
I know what you mean. I know
You
what you mean.
know.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, like they kind of did that with Raph at the beginning. You know, that's how we met Casey Jones. You know, and it's gone down and as one of the highest rated, you know, comic books when it comes to like characters.
Mhm.
I feel like it would definitely be that would definitely be a big risk. I think the reward of it would definitely help people finally get a better understanding of the independent characterizations, for some of those more misunderstood characters.
And you could do
I mean, just like, or just like giving them some depth outside of what everybody associates with
Yeah.
them. So, like, yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
and I know we're getting ready to close out, but
Yeah.
there's one more thing I do want for this universe. If if they want to introduce Jenica, now is the time to do it. To media, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, if they like when we introduce Casey, introduce Jenica at the same time before she's mutated. I feel like that would be the perfect, and especially in this like little new universe that we got going on the Paramount Plus. This would be the perfect. I want Jenica in a movie because every time I talk about her, people go, "Who's that?" She's been around for a minute now. Like she
In the
needs to.
comics, though, it's just the
Yeah, but
comics.
she needs. Yeah, and that's why she
Should-
needs to be in the media because people
I
need to
mean,
know about
well,
her because she's awesome.
she's got to get some time to marinate. And I mean, granted, I'm saying that as somebody who's not fully caught up on the IDW run yet. I haven't even been introduced to Jenica yet. But I
Oh,
mean,
dude, you're gonna love her.
I'm fully excited about the expectation, like from what I've seen. I mean, I've read stories with Jenica in them because she's in the Street Fighter crossover by Paul Ayor. Shout outs to them.
Okay, so you
Fantastic
already
book.
got a
Please
little
go.
bit of her.
Yeah, please go read that. That's probably my favorite Ninja Turtle story of the year. Well, I say, like, if I can just like shout them out, they're a fantastic artist as like an author. And but yeah, just there's, I mean, I just say just let it marinate a little bit. But as
Yeah.
like Jenica is going to get her day.
Like slowly introduce her. Don't just like throw her in like out of nowhere. Like obviously introduce her.
Right.
But,
Build
like
up to her. Like build up.
yeah, but like she like even on like she's only part of the IDW run and obviously that Street Fighter run that they were talking about it. But like she was introduced in the IDW series and at this point in the IDW run, she's accepted as their sister. You know,
Yeah.
she is their sister. You know, kind of like Venus was in that show, and now they're bringing Venus back, and I love what they kind of went with the Frankenstein route. For those who aren't reading it, they kind of went instead of her being like in the show, like she was for like Splinter found the four turtles and just forgot her, because that's what happened in the show. But in this one, she's kind of going like the Frankenstein route, brought to life by like a dragon scale and stuff. It's super dope. I love it.
All right. As we close the episode, I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your night to be here with me, to be talking about this. You two are great content creators. You're obviously big Ninja Turtle fans, and the fact is, like, it's been a couple months, but like, we finally got to have this Mutant Mayhem talk and talk things through.
Yeah.
So nice to get it off my chest.
Yeah, it's really good. This was one of the movies that I just really wanted to talk about, and I'm like, we can't go over to 2024 and not talk about this movie, coming out this year, it came out this year. Before we get going though, as I thank you guys so much, Johnson, where can we find you online? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
You can find me at all of my social media at Johnson is Lovely. I also have a secondary Instagram called Johnson Collects. That's where I post my entire action figure collection. It's basically a digital archive. There's Ninja Turtles, there's Power Rangers, DC stuff, some other stuff. I mean, and it's just pretty much just like another creative outlet for myself to just kind of really kind of like recreate some of my favorite moments and just like give some about to say just kind of like go back to that place of just like was like, well, wouldn't this be cool, like if I say like if this happened this way. And I mean, I've got like a bunch of stuff really was like lined up in the tuck because like I said, next year marks the 40th anniversary for Ninja Turtles. So I'm just about to say I'm really trying to go for my MVP era here and go for that top spot as the #1 Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got a great tandem of people here like you, Dimithri, like you, Schuby, like so many of our other amazing mutuals on TikTok, Torresar, Sweet Alexa. I love all you guys out there. You guys definitely help keep the fandom alive and well. And I mean, there's so many other people. But like, so I'm sorry that I can't name everybody, but I mean, just I really want to pull something together, you know, really do something big for all the fans and for all of the creators, the Turtle Talkers and Ninja Turtle creatives like us. I know that we all kind of dip our toes in other stuff too, but it's just like I got some stuff brewing, so just be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost at 1,000 subs. I'm almost at 40,000 on TikTok, and yeah, that's all that I got. And Schuby, thank you for recommending me on this because I was like, I know per your recommendation, that's why I'm here. So I'm really grateful.
No, Dimithri, he messaged me and he goes, "Hey, dude, I'm thinking about doing something on Mutant Mayhem. Do you want to be on it?" I was like, "Yeah, but you got to invite this guy too. He is the because when I say you are the king of TMNT TikTok, I mean that with my whole soul and heart. And but if you guys want to find me, you can find me at Schuby Dubert on all platforms. It's SCHUBYDOOBERT. You guys can find me at Schuby Dubert. I'm also going to be bringing back my podcast. I haven't done it in a long time, but it's because I've been in school and I'm graduating next semester, so I finally get to. Yeah, thank you. And I'll have more time on my hands to actually do it. So I can't wait to get back into doing that. We'll be doing weekly shows. Can't wait to do that. We talked about the Nerd Initiative earlier. Somebody came into your chat.
Yeah.
The Nerd Initiative. That's the website I write for. And recently, I did an article about book bannings and how comics can help kids be better readers. I interviewed 3 teachers that teach with comic books, all of which have been on Dimitri's show. So they're all great
Heck
people.
yeah.
Please go check that out. Johnson kind of gave it all out there. Turtle Talkers out there. Everybody's supporting me. It's so cool, especially IDW for giving me the options to actually promote for them. It's a dream come true for 8-year-old Shuby to actually be able to do that stuff. I wish I could go back in time and be like, it gets better, So, yeah, go check it out. My podcast is Comic Comedians. I still have all those episodes up. If you guys want to check that out, all places you find podcasts. And yeah, follow me, Shuby Dubert and Nerd Initiative. Go check out that new article because it's so good. I feel it's my best.
That's good.
And if you need any music to listen to, I've also got like 2 albums worth of material on my Spotify, so that's out there, floating out there too.
Is
Shameless
that like
plug.
music that you created?
Yeah, man. But I say like last minute Johnson lore. I am the rapper and the TMNT guy of TikTok, so it's kind of I am a professional part timer, so I'm out here.
But let's be honest, the TMNT rapper is Tape Deck Terrorist, especially for his Mutant Mayhem run. That guy, he did a cool fan song for Mutant Mayhem where he used Partners in Crime's beat from the original 1990 movie. I was planning on giving him a shout out through this entire podcast, but now I forgot to do that. Tape Deck Terrorist, guys. He made a song talking about Mutant Mayhem and used the Partners in Crime beat, and both Johnson and I used that song to help promote this podcast. So
very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on. For anyone out there who is watching and or listening, if you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or even youtube.com/The Keeg Show. If you're listening to us, you are listening to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Now, if you're on social media, follow us at The Keeg Show on TikTok and Instagram. Those are our 2 biggest ones. We're also on like Facebook and Threads and all that stuff. At The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show. You can find us anywhere you want to. We're also on patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to give back to the Keeg in any way. Now, this show specifically is part of a series called The Keeg Talks, which obviously is closing up at the end of the year for this season. But our next Keeg Talks is the Keeg Talks Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Whether or not you're looking forward to that movie or not, definitely stay tuned for our live stream for that. It is Sunday, December 24th. We do this show on the weekends, right? We're also going to be debuting a new monthly show starting in January. So definitely stay tuned for that. I have not announced that yet, but for anyone who knows me and what I like, you might be able to guess what the monthly show would be about. But we got a lot of cool episodes coming out. We got the best of 2023 as on December 30th, and we have the best comics of 2023 also on December 30th. So there's a lot of really cool things to look forward to. We got the Keeg Talks every weekend. We also got Comic Talk every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about different comics that came out that week. We're not doing one for this week, but we'll be back again starting next week. Basically, we just got a lot of shows. Stay tuned at The Keeg Show on TikTok and Instagram if you want to keep updated with all the shows that we have through The Keeg. But that being said, thank you, Johnson. Thank you, Schuby, so much for coming on this, taking time out.
Gala.
You guys are great Ninja Turtles fans. So I'm really happy that I had you on this episode. Thank you to Wednesday Pull out there. Thank you to X Bomer. Thank you to Carson. Thank you to My Cow Moose. Thank you to all you people out there for joining us in the chat. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been the Keeg Talks Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Super